Hi my intuitive people, welcome back to Crystal Intuition. So today we're going to be talking about witchcraft. This is my Witchcraft 101 video that I promised to you guys a while back now. So this video is going to get very all over the place. So I have a lot of stuff that I want to cover in this video. So just grab yourself a beverage and let's get into it. So first of all, what is witchcraft and where did it come from? Witchcraft is basically earth magic, and technically it's a form of science. It's not really as satanic as most Christians would have you believe. Of course, there's this fine line where it just all goes to shit, to complete shit. There's no other way to put it, because there's the small line where witchcraft and Satanism kind of combines, but that's only if you're on the left-hand path. So you have two paths when you're a witch. You can either be on the right-hand path or the left-hand path. There is no in-between. So right-hand path means you're a good person. You're doing your craft to help people, like making teas with herbs to heal the ones you love and to heal yourself. The left-hand path, however, this is more that self-serving kind of putting hexes on people, love spells, messing with people's free will, those stuff that I keep telling you guys not to do. That's the left-hand path. There is no in-between, and the line between these two things is very, very vague. It's very thin. You can easily transition from one into the other. So it's important to practice extreme caution when you engage in the craft. I do think it's very helpful. And another thing, people think witches are very like this woo-woo-y, life's so perfect, everything's magical. Most of the days I'm just living like a normal human being. I get sad, I get depressed, I get lonely, I get jealous, I'll be happy, I'll do this. I still cook my food, I still do regular stuff, I bathe, I swim, I hang out with friends, I still drink, I do stuff. Sometimes I want to lock myself inside a room for a couple of weeks, sometimes I like being social. Play video games, just all that regular normal stuff, hang out on Facebook, just scroll over your phone, very, very casual stuff. Like, we don't really practice as much as some people think. There is this very hands-on witches that just everything is like spell, but it shouldn't be so extravagant, it shouldn't. So basically witchcraft is more a life path than a religion, unless you engage more in Wicca. Wicca and witchcraft is two different things. So Wicca is the religion, witchcraft is basically the life path. It's a thing on its own. It's like being a hippie or whatever. It's very different from that, but it's kind of the same concept. It's a life path, what you engage in to better yourself as a human being, and to help others, to basically achieve that level of humanity that we desperately want to achieve, that perfection, if you will. So there's a couple of things that I want to tell beginner witches. I think I'm going to begin with the labeling, because that just tends to piss me off the most. So I'm just going to start with that. So people labeling, they say there's all these different types of witches. A witch is a witch. That's it. A witch is a witch. I don't care if you're a green witch, a white witch, a kitchen witch, a crystal witch, a candle witch, whatever. Unless you only do that one thing, then you can go by that label. But most witches I know, or have seen or heard about, tends to do more than one of these things. So the things witches normally do, there's like crystals, astrology, moonology, palmistry, which is becoming quite a thing. There's the tarot reading, the earth magic, the spells, the herbs, the rituals, The list is practically endless, but labeling is not really that cool. A lot of people don't even like the label witch. A lot of people go by spiritual practitioner, which is also a very okay term for it. And I just think the labeling thing it's wrong. It's like saying like you're a girly girl, you're a tomboy. It's the same concept. It's just irritating. And another thing is like the baby witch thing, which pisses me off the most, because you don't realize how bad you make yourself look when you call yourself a baby witch. The correct term, if you're very serious about the craft, is a novice. Because if you refer to yourself as a baby witch, people are going to target you. They're going to think you're stupid and you don't really know what you're doing. And I don't mean to offend anyone, but this is just exactly how it is. I'm going to be very no filter about this because this is the reality of it. People are going to think you're stupid, they're going to take advantage of you, they're going to teach you the wrong things. The most important thing about being a witch is figuring stuff out for yourself, unless you have a really cool spiritual teacher that wants to tell you. And another thing, all of those, like taking off your clothes and sleeping with other people, that's not witchcraft. That tends to go more into the satanic thing. Not to judge anyone or to make anyone feel bad, but if you have a spiritual teacher and they're like, you have to sleep with me in order to become more this or that, that's just get out now, because that's not what it's about. Witchcraft to me is about kind of being a little bit rebellious because you're tired of what everyone tells you, because everyone's been telling you what to do your entire life. They've been forcing you into religion. They've been forcing you to believe all of this stuff. They have been telling you what to do, what to believe, and you've realized that there's more to life than that. You've realized that life is deeper than that, and that things that you've learned is satanic isn't. And I actually had to burn a lot of my stuff. Two people, different people. One was people from the church and the other one was like a spiritual guy, I guess. They had me burn half of my stuff. The first time it was like all my horror books, my dream catchers, evil eyes, some of my rings. One had like a lion head, the other one had the Celtic cross. It was like a mood ring, and it had the normal cross as well. One had like Hebrew hieroglyphics in. It was very cool. I liked it. I had to burn all that. I had to burn some knives. I collected knives back then. I still kind of have a little bit of that collection. So there's a lot of those things I had to burn. The second time it was all my fairy stuff, all my what was it? It was like my mother's antiquity scheme, all the rosaries with the crucifix. Now the cross is the one without the Jesus on, and the crucifix is the one with the Jesus on, for those of you who are confused about that. So I had to burn all the crucifixes, because apparently crucifixes were evil. So, yeah, sure. My mother had to burn all her Africa stuff, like all those traditional vases, and the stuff with the carvings, and like, I don't really know, like pots, and it was just a couple of things. Also, my mother had this set of like coffee mugs with like the sun on one side and the moon on the other side. We had to burn that. I had a glow-in-the-dark moon I had to burn. I can't even remember half of the stuff I had to burn because it was so overwhelming. I had to burn some of my antique dolls' clothes because it has sun and moon prints on it. One had fairy rings on it, so I had to burn all this stuff. I lost a lot of stuff. Oh, wait, that's not even the best part. I have to burn all of my Angry Bird stuff. Some of those were actually gifts, and I had to burn it, and it hurt me a little inside. For those of you who want to get rid of paranormal stuff, burning is never the answer, because burning releases stuff. For those of you who are in the witchcraft, I will be talking about the rituals later on. So, burning, never a go-to. If you want to get rid of something, you bury it. Okay, you bless it, and you bury it. You don't burn. We don't burn. So, I was very pissed off for a very long time about that, because I'm just, you know, like, nobody could really give me an explanation and a reason to why. So the one thing I'd recommend never to mess around with is a Ouija board, which, if you have one and you have problems with it, bury it in the earth. Maybe throw a little salt on there before you close the hole that you dumped to bury it in, because that's the proper way to get rid of a Ouija board. Other things you can do, like pendulum crystals, but again, everything has this fine line. I do a lot of things. Personally, I'm very into astrology, in crystals, and tarot cards, which is 3 of the main things that I do, but I also do numerology, and I have been engaging a little bit more in herbs lately. The only thing I don't really do is the palmistry, because I find it confusing, and I also don't see or read auras. I feel energies, but I don't see it, if that makes sense. A lot of witches are psychic people. I was also born with psychic gifts. It runs in my family. So that's basically, you don't have to be psychic to be a witch. You don't have to be born in it. You don't have to be a 5th or 7th century witch. You can literally just learn the craft. It's a lot of studying. It's endless studying and endless knowledge. The word occult also means hidden knowledge, for those of you who are confused. So where I think witchcraft actually came from is, my opinion on it is very, very different. Now, this is my opinion. Some of you may have different opinions, but I believe the Bible is very, very more to what we know it is. Since I grew up Christian and was raised in a Christian home, you know, we kind of think the little Bible we have is all there is. There's actually parts of the Bible that was taken out. One of the biggest ones of them being the Book of Enoch. Go Google that, go read it if you can, because I did, and it expands your mind so much, because that was originally in the Bible. They talk about giants, Nephilims, the angels that actually fell, and Lucifer's rebellion. It wasn't just Lucifer, but he was one of them. So basically, when God created man, the angels got like a little jealous, not because we were perfect or whatever, because the angels wanted to be with the humans, especially the male version of the angels, I believe. I don't really know if angels have a sex, but we're just gonna pretend they have a sexual, you know, just females and males, just for the sake of this video. So the male angels found the human females to be extremely very beautiful, and they wanted to be with them and conceive children with them. God did not want to allow this, apparently. So they kind of went a little bit away from the mainstream. They fell to earth. They actually slept with these women, conceived children which were later known as the Nephilims. They were bigger than the giants, and later on God made them all kill each other, while the angels had to watch their own children kill each other and slaughter each other. It was very gruesome. I guess they took it out because it's very gruesome. There's a lot of very rated things in there, but it's very interesting reading it. So from what I understand, when the angels fell, they kind of taught humans a lot of things. One of them being witchcraft. So Lucifer was the one that, he was the angel of music, so he came, he taught us music. Another one, Azazel, he's, I think, second in command in hell, if I'm not mistaken. He taught humans the application of beautifying the eyelids, which is makeup nowadays. He also taught blacksmithing, the art of war, and also, I believe, like piercings and stuff like that. That's what he came to teach. So there was also a couple of others. I'm not exactly sure which one taught us the witchcraft, but one of them were responsible for teaching the woman witchcraft. A lot of us were eager to learn. Now, the reason why they call this occultism is because it's hidden knowledge that we were never supposed to know. It was stuff the angels knew, what they did up in heaven, that were never intended for us, but Basically, they came down, they said, okay, you can have our children, and then we'll teach you all of these cool things we used to do. That's why I don't think witchcraft is evil or satanic, because originally it was used up there in heaven. So, for those of you who don't believe the heaven and hell theory, this is just what the Book of Enoch said, so this is just my theory on it. But what I found interesting is that we were never supposed to know that, but God didn't really get mad at us. Basically, got mad at them, and now they're kind of torturing us for all eternity, because now the evil demons and stuff are kind of hellbound on corrupting humans. But witchcraft in itself is not evil, but it can be used for evil. Everything has the potential to be evil, and I've said that multiple times. So that whole theory was really interesting. And the angels back then, they weren't really that evil. They came down, they were still kind of angels, and throughout the time they just became evil and darker, I guess, and they rebelled more, and now that's where satanic stuff came in, I believe. So that's where I believe witchcraft came from. A lot of people disagree, but witchcraft generally is science, most of it. The study of the stars, that's science, that's astrology. Numerology, the first place you can find numerology is in the Bible. They talk about numerology all the time, you just don't know it. Palmistry isn't really that woohoo-y, because you literally just study the lines on your hand, I believe. And like astrology also, you can study your birth chart and find out things about yourself. It's about bettering yourself, learning more about yourself. That's what makes witchcraft interesting. So, the characteristics of a witch is kind of simple. It varies from person to person, but witchcraft, people engaging in witchcraft, they're usually empaths, which means they're very sensitive to energy. If you're in a crowded place, you tend to feel, you just want to get out of there. You can't take it, all that energy. When someone's upset, it tends to hurt you more. You generally care more about animals and nature, and every living thing affects you. If you see violence on TV or on Facebook, example, that can influence you more. Witches and witchcraft, they're also generally people engaging in the craft tend to be more shy people that had a rough life, people that were bullied and were consistently pushed into being a certain way or doing a certain thing. That it's usually not even rebellious people being this way. But there are a lot of different characteristics. Some of them were probably witches in a past life, or there's just all of these different theories on it. But I do believe anyone can be a witch. So I'm just gonna quickly scroll through my little list here. So yeah, you also don't ask people what you should do when you're a witch. Don't ask like, what's the best way to go about it. That's uniquely to you. That's what makes the craft so exceptional. You choose your own brand. You choose, do I vibe more with crystals? Do I vibe more with tarot cards? Do I want to do both? Do I like incense, sage, or Palo Santo? Do I like rosemary or lavender? You can use all of them if you want. I like to experiment and use different multiple things, and you don't have to learn everything. If you want to study herbs, maybe start with 8. Just start with 8 that you're going to be using in basic spells. You don't need spells. You can get spells off the internet, or you can make your own. Same with sigils. You can get them off the internet, or you can just create your own. There's tutorials and DIYs all over the internet, but if you guys would like me to go more in depth about these different things, I think I did make a video on sigils, but if you want me to make a video about every little aspect of it, I'll go more in depth, but this is just a general video to include all of the topics about being a witch. So yeah, I want to tell you guys also, like, telling people, how do you tell someone you're a witch? That's the hard part. I actually thought my parents were gonna be extremely mad. I didn't really go and like be like, hey mom, dad, I'm a witch now. It wasn't like that. Telling people isn't that easy. So, like I said, a witch is a witch. I go with the term witch. But I was just like in the kitchen one day. I was doing this secretly for a couple of months and did a lot of research about it before I got into it. And when I told my parents, I was in the kitchen with my mom. We were cooking dinner. I was helping her with the dinner, making the dinner and doing the dishes and stuff. And I was like, hey, I'm engaging in like spirituality, you know, I like collecting crystals, kind of expanded on that and went into astrology, and I'm kind of into tarot. But wait, it's not what you think. It's not evil. I did research on tarot. I know what it is. I told her a bit about where it came from. It was around from the 1400s when the printing company started. I told her that it wasn't anything evil or satanic, and kind of just explained it a little bit to her about what I do. And she was surprisingly very chill about it and said it was my choices, which is, I didn't expect that. I expected her to yell on me and say something like not under my roof or something, but she was really cool about that. Then my dad overheard the conversation a little, and then I told him everything I told my mother. I did readings for both of them, and they kind of understood. They were very understanding. There's like still a couple of people who don't know. Like, the first person that knew I did this was my fiance, obviously. No, his parents don't really know this because they're also very Christian, and I really respect their religion and their views because they think the witchcraft thing is dark and evil. Another person they don't know is my grandma, but she kind of knows a little bit. She sees stuff on my Facebook because I tend to share my stuff a lot, and you know, the Crystal Intuition Facebook post, I share that on my personal page, and she kind of said something to my mother, because nobody tends to say stuff in my face. They kind of just tell other people and other people to tell me that I should read my Bible, and I'm engaging. My grandma literally said to my mom, I'm engaging in satanic stuff again, because I did have a rock band phase. I'm wearing a Guns N' Roses t-shirt right now. I don't think you can really see that bit, but so my grandma thinks that the metal band phase was satanic. She doesn't like me having tattoos, and she doesn't like it when I do my nails black. She thinks black cutex makes your soul black or something, but nevertheless, she doesn't want to click on my videos and actually see what they're about. She just assumes the worst. But I guess if I should explain it to her, she'll probably understand. But the tarot thing, I tend to want to leave out a little. A lot of people will know, but very little people actually want to confront me about this. I'm sorry if the camera blurs a little bit, guys. This, like I said, I'm filming videos in nighttime because it's very, very, very hot over here. So, telling people you should just do that in your own time. If you want to practice in secret for a while, it's not fun, but you know, just hide your stuff under your bed or in your closet. And yeah, just go about it more casually. Don't just be like, hey, I'm a witch. Just try to explain more of the things why you're a witch, if that makes sense. What do you need to get started? That's something people ask a lot. You don't need a lot. It's not about the aesthetics. I did a lot of videos in the beginning with DIY tarot cards. I did that on purpose because I wanted to show you guys it's not about the aesthetics. I work with crappy lighting and weird upload schedules because I'm in between places because of, you know, not having my own space yet. So we're working with what we have, and that's what witchcraft's about. You have to work with what you have. Back in the day, they didn't have all of these cool things we have now. Yes, I did order a singing bowl. It hasn't arrived yet. I do have legit cards. Didn't have that at the beginning. I do now. I have this like cool magic 8-ball. I just think it's cool, and I didn't always have that. I have a lot of crystals and my pendulum. I didn't have that at the beginning, and crystal collection takes a time because crystals are expensive, and you know, I still have this like big list of crystals that I do want. What is good crystals for beginners? Clear quartz and amethyst, black tourmaline. Those 3 crystals are like the go-to for beginner witches. Black tourmaline is for protection, amethysts for all your spirituality and stuff like that. Amethyst is really very awesome crystal. It's like the witch's #1 crystal is amethyst. Black tourmaline, very good for protection, very needed. And then clear quartz is a very universal stone, so if you only have a small budget, those are the 3 stones I recommend. And size, it's not about the size. You can have this tiny crystal, or you can have like a big crystal. They're still going to serve their purpose. If crystals break, they break for a reason. A lot of people ask questions about that. They break for a reason. Don't bury them in the earth. A lot of people suggest that. I think it's BS, but just keep it, and it broke for a reason, and you'll find out why. So, spells and rituals isn't really as woo-woo-y as people think it is. It's basically you using incantations and candles or herbs or sigils or whatever. There's also a difference between sigils and talismans. I don't work with talismans, I work with sigils more, but you know, you're just basically setting out intention for a specific thing. That's what a spell is. A spell is also a one-time thing. You do it once and it's over. You can do it again, but it's generally like you do it and you wait for the result. Whereas a ritual is something that should be done on a regular basis. It's like an everyday thing. It's like brushing your teeth or taking a bath. That should be a ritual you do every day. Now, that's why money spells and money jars and money bowls are generally they're rituals, not spells, because you have to work on them and put energy in and out of them or shake them. You have to move that energy on a regular basis. That's the difference between that. Let me just see. I did talk about all of those things. Okay, and I also want to talk about shielding and grounding, because protecting yourself is very important. Witches shield themselves with different colors. I like doing it with a white light, because I'm still a Christian witch. Not too much in the Christian stuff, but I'm still Christian. I still wear... Oh, it's getting stuck, but I still wear my cross around my neck, and along with my protective crystal. And yeah, I protect myself with the God's light, the light of love, the pure love, the pure white light, bright light. How do you put a shield around yourself? You just envision it up here. Envision it surrounding you. If you have trouble, imagine you're on a stage or in a club with the lights on you, and the lights are just on you, and it's like very bright and stuff. Just imagine that in your head, and you have to believe that it's really going to protect you. Try protecting yourself with different colors. You can envision it like a orb surrounding you, or skin tight, or you can just imagine this shining out of you. There's different ways to go about it, different colors. The important thing is that if you put up a shield, you have to take it down at the end of the day. Otherwise that's going to get stagnant and you're going to get to feel depressed and stuff. So you have to envision it going off eventually, and then you can put it up again. Try experimenting with different colors and different types of shields every day. Shielding is important to protect your spiritual energy. Protecting is very important. That's why stones like black tourmaline or black obsidian, or even snowflake obsidian like the one I'm wearing around my neck, is recommended. Apache tear, I heard, is also very good for protection. Basically, most black stones are very good for protection. Black crystals. So, shielding and protecting is very important. You can also protect your space by burning incense, or by saging, or using Palo Santo to clear your space. You can use lavender. You can use, there's a couple of herbs you can use, but just to clear your space regularly, especially if you're practicing on a regular basis. I tend to, when I get new objects, I tend to cleanse them as well. Because you never know what stagnant energy, sorry guys, you never know what stagnant energy can be on an object. So I also recommend cleansing objects regularly. And if you sage your home, you usually go from corner to corner. You start at the back, corner to corner, every window, every door, and you just wash all that energy out of the front door. Some people do it with a broom. That's why witches are associated with brooms, because you clear your energy, like physically, you clean your place physically and spiritually, but you have to envision it. Envisioning and intuition is very big things about witchcraft as well. Then there's the meditation, that's also always recommended. You basically, I'm gonna do a meditate with me video sometime along the line, but you just get yourself in a calm, relaxed space where you will not be disturbed, and you just close your eyes and just go into a calming state. Focus on your breathing and try not to think, but don't force anything. Just let the thoughts come and go naturally. And then, like, you can also use grounding to meditate, but which is less, it usually takes less time. Now, grounding is where you go and sit down on the grass. Usually you'll envision roots coming out of you into the ground, and this is usually exchange of energy. You have too much energy, you exchange it back and put it in the earth. Or you are in need of energy and you envision some energy of the earth coming into you. It's usually a pure green energy. And you only do that usually if you want to either release or gain energy, or if something feels overwhelming, if you're feeling low, then that's a good thing to do. Earthing is a little different. Earthing is very simple and very low-key, and it's very, very helpful. And a lot of people that I've recommended this to have seen improvement in their lives. Earthing is where you literally, you can go barefoot. If you're allergic to grass, you can do it with your socks on or put a blanket on the grass. You can also do it on cement, but under the cement has to be direct dirt. It doesn't have to be grass, it can be dirt as well, but grass tends to be more effective because there's more friction. So earthing is where you just walk barefoot on the grass, but let your feet like slide a lot, and that just releases all of that magnetic energy that we get from all of these technology devices. Sorry, I'm getting like tongue-tied there, but yeah, all of these technology is really affecting us, and we're spiritual beings having human experiences. So when we don't spend a lot of time in nature, then we tend to get sad, depressed, and as well a lot of people have these issues. They don't know the solution is as simple as going out and walking on your grass, and it does work for a lot of people. Sometimes therapy is needed. Very little of the time I recommend the medication because I also had a depression problem, and the psychologist actually told me that sometimes depression medication can make your condition worse and make you feel more depressed. So they usually just recommend therapy rather than medication. So there's natural ways you can heal depression and stuff, like herbs and crystals, and amethyst is really good for that as well. And just earthing yourself, go walk on the grass, spend time in nature, connect with nature, spend time with animals, and maybe with water as well. Spend time with the elements. Elements is also an important thing with witches. We tend to use the power of the elements. Some work with goddesses and deities or spirit guides. I work with spirit guides only and with nature and the elements. I don't work with deities or stuff like that, but if that's your go-to, if you want to do it, you can do it. And judgment, witchcraft is generally a judgment-free space. So I'm just going to see here. I think that's all I actually wanted to talk about, but I think I should give you guys a couple of tips when you're practicing witchcraft. Things that I don't always do, but I should do. Cleanse your space regularly. If you feel down or depressed, don't just allow yourself to feel your emotion, but just let it go afterwards, because holding on to it's really not solving anything. Also note the effect that the moon cycles and the planets are having on your physical being. I mean, think about the ocean. The moon moves the ocean and makes the waves, right? The different phases of the moon. Full moon usually makes big waves. Your body is mostly water, so what does that do to you? That's just something for you guys to think about. So just think about the effects that external things can have on you. Be observant. Sit around, think how certain things are making you feel. If you feel down, think what have you been doing, what have you not been doing? What makes you feel good, what makes you feel bad? Observing is a very good thing when you engage in witchcraft. And trusting your intuition. Don't second guess it. And there's also a difference between fear and intuition. When there's fear associated with something, that's not intuition. When there's this pure bliss and just a knowing of something, that's intuition. When there's fear associated with it, that's just fear. So if you think someone's gonna die and you're very scared and anxious, that's just fear. That's probably not intuition. Unless you feel someone's gonna die but you don't feel scared about it, but then later get a little sad about it, that's probably more intuition. That's just a weird example, but and also another thing, things are not always going to be like sunshine and moon and roses and stuff. It's a lot of spiritual people actually have more problems with their emotions and mentality than regular people, because most witches has been through tough times, and bad entities tend to be drawn to, like, negativity attracts negativity, and also if you had trauma in your life, that's also going to attract them, so you need to let go of your past. And also, if you're a very light being and if you have a bright aura, then you have this light that shines and the darkness can see that, and sometimes they target you because you're this bright and positive person, because they want to break you down, because they see you as a threat. So sometimes you will have more paranormal experiences when you engage in the craft, but it's not supposed to be scary, because if you're scared, depressed, or any negative emotion, you're feeding the bad entities. Let them start. Just try to be positive and just enjoy the ride while you're on it. So that's just a couple of things that I wanted to tell you guys. And also, when you feel drawn to something, do it. If your body tells you something, if you have this sudden urge to do something, just go for it, because there's a reason for it. I trust everything happens for a reason, everything happens for a reason, and everything will work out the way it should. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please go check out Crystal Intuition on Facebook, and please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!